That is where you've always been wrong about me, Lex. I'm as human as anyone. I love, I get scared. I wake up every morning and despite not knowing what to do, I put one foot in front of the other and I try to make the best choices I can. I screw up all the time. But that is being human. And that's my greatest strength.
Last year, around a little bit before this time, James Gunn's big theatrical debut for the new DCEU movie TV verse appeared with the titular character Superman. And if you know anything about comics, superheroes, cartoons, anything, he needs no introductions. The Man of Steel, the Man of Tomorrow, the farm boy Clark Kent, the humble reporter from the Daily Planet. And the movie was great. It was an amazing movie. It was one of my favorite movies. I loved the movie. I remember watching it. I was just so excited. I felt like a little kid again watching it. And I remember coming out of the movie and I was like, man, that was so good. Like, oh my gosh. Like, I'm so excited for the rest of this, for the rest of this universe, right? Like, I haven't been this excited for a universe since back when I saw, Iron Man 1. And I had a lot of high expectations because I remember, like, this has to be good. Like, if this movie isn't good, if people don't like it, I don't know if DC's going to be able to make, like, a movie verse for a while because that's going to be back-to-back failures, right? But I felt like all those expectations were met, I thought it was exceeded, right? And I remember coming out of it happy and hopeful, but not just for the movie verse, but for, like, real life too. Like, that movie kind of inspired you to be better. Like, I think that movie is one of those things where it left such a big impact on the people who saw it that it inspired people to be like Superman, I remember if you were around like TikTok or anything around that time, you saw the influx of like edits and stuff to like super hopeful songs that like be better. And it just felt like Superman sat there and inspired people to be better. And that's so good because that's part of what makes him so good. That's part of his character. That he inspires the people around him to be better, because if somebody as powerful as him can be this good of a person, why can't you? And it was beautiful, right? And as I said, it's exactly why he works so well in my eyes. And I think he can be a great character because, through all of the power, all of the villains, the trials and tribulations, whether it be a bald, billionaire, evil genius who wants nothing more than to kill him, the personification of destruction and evil in the universe, intergalactic, super intelligent 12th mind who collects civilizations, or a eternally coming back monster from a planet far dead, or a general from his home planet who wants nothing more than to do everything he doesn't do. He's always just another guy, if that makes sense. He's just another farm boy, right? And you might think of, well, he's an alien, he's from Krypton. Well, remember, he grew up thinking he was just another person, and that's who he is, right? He still has his job, he still loves, he still hates, he still cares, and he's just as human as the rest of us, but he just so happens to be the most powerful man in the universe. Because he's a Superman. He isn't just he isn't just a man, he's a Superman, And it's so beautiful, right? It's just so inspiring to just see somebody like that, right? And he's one of those superheroes that, like, he's the perfect hero, right? Which is why he's like he's the blueprint for all heroes after him, right? He's played by David Corenswet in this movie, who is perfect as Superman. I thought Henry Cavill looked great as Superman, and I think like most of the Superman actors have looked great, but David just brings it. I think he's perfect for it. Obviously he's a giant guy, but he also looks like what a real life Superman would look like. And his looks are perfect for it, right? But it's also the vibe and his mannerisms and how he comes off on screen, right? He has this presence on screen that doesn't feel overwhelming in the sense that he's intimidating, but in the sense that he's filling up the whole room. When I see him, I think of a guy like Optimus Prime, or All Might, right? A guy that's super, like, his presence is like, can just completely fill the screen, but it isn't intimidating in the sense that it scares you. It's intimidating in the sense that it inspires you to be like him. He brings all the attention on the screen to him every time he shows up, because what he does drives everything forward, right? And he gives off that like good-hearted and well-meaning like golden boy vibe, right? If like everything isn't like fake, you can kind of see that with people sometimes where it feels like things they do, whether they're good or bad, come across as like not genuine and super fake and not really who they are. But he doesn't come off like that. He comes like an air of freshness and youthfulness that I don't think has been matched in a while. Um, and it's like that well-meaning energy that I feel like it has been missed severely, and especially in the Man of Steel movies, right? And the costume as well, right? Like I think a big part of that is how like nice the costume is, how colorful the costume is. It just sticks out on the screen. The colors aren't mold and mudded and trying to like blend in and look more realistic. They're like bright, they're expressive, they're colors that make you like immediately look at him because there's bright red. He's got bright red trousers on. That's awesome. Like you want that. I don't want him to walk around and some mold like costume that's like super dark and all the lighting always catches it, so it's like even darker because of the shadows and stuff like that. Or even when there's good lighting on it, it's just really mudded. It's like some darkish navy blue, like a dirty color. Like no, I want my Superman to have like a bright color. I want that the S on his chest to pop out. You want the blue to be a nice blue to look at because red and blue are such great colors to look at. So when you have them so bright and pronounced, it works in well. It draws you more to him, and it's more relaxing, I'm going to say. It's more like you feel safe around this type of person, right? But I also think it wasn't just the costume, but the entire movie, right? I think the entire movie was bright and colorful. You see the sun used a lot in this movie, and it's always like so there, if that makes sense. I feel like with a lot of movies, they'll use the sun to create shadows on things and on people, but in this movie it felt like the sun was there to make everybody look brighter. It felt like the sun was there to really light up every scene instead of being there to kind of give an in-universe explanation for why the fuck it's so dark outside, right? But you also see that especially in his big speech to Lex Luthor at the end. It was basically in your face. Like I saw so many jokes about how the sun was just kind of blinding you randomly, but I thought that worked really well. I like that because it felt more human. It's not that he's bigger than the sun and that he can block it out and be as this like godlike figure. Because I feel like a lot of godlike figures and their imagery has them kind of like blocking out the sun and standing in front of it, like as like a version of the sun, if that makes sense. But in this sense, he felt just as human as the rest of us, which was the whole point of that speech, right? And going back onto the movie itself, it was just so much of it that was so pretty, right? Even in the darker moments, it was still so pretty to look at. And it was like such a good contrast from all the lighter moments because it made those hopeful moments stand out so much more, right? All those different things, whether it be, I forget what the war-torn country is it. The Moravian and Johannesburg. Yeah, those, even in the conflict there, actually the genocide there, which is also doing well because it's also showing a real life mirror to genocides in our life. And I'll get on that soon, actually. It was like all those hopeful scenes, the Superman scene, when Superman goes back to save Metropolis, when he goes back to specifically save the woman. It's two different women he saves, actually. When he saves a squirrel, it's so good when you show him saving people on a personal basis because it allows you to feel like them. It allows you to see why this is so beautiful, why this is so hopeful. And I think it works so well, right? And going on to what I was just saying, it's such a good contrast to real life issues, real life genocides that are happening today, because it feels like it's kind of giving a social commentary on the fact that, yeah, these real life genocides are also being used for political ideologies. They're looked at less of human rights and more of, well, you have to think about how this affects this war, this world, and this country, when in reality, that shouldn't matter because you're trying to save people. It is exactly what Superman himself says. He says, I wasn't representing anybody. I was representing myself because people were going to die. And I think it's just so beautiful when you are able to apply those real life issues and give a reason as to why, exactly why he would do this. And then there's consequences, obviously, because there's always something bigger at play. But to him, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, he's not here to be some political figure. He's not here to be this new world leader. He's here to be a superhero. And I think it's so well done. I think it's so well done. And then the characters as well. Like, they're big parts of Superman's mythos that were missing in previous entries. You know, Crypto, super great choice. He's like ridiculous enough to where it's like, man, when you think about it, this is like so funny. But it just works, right? Lois and Jimmy Olsen, perfectly used, man. They are great in this movie. Like, they are terrific in this movie, and I think they did so well. I'm so happy that people love Jimmy Olsen, because you should, right? And it's just so much fun. You want to cheer for them, right? They come across as real people. Like, Clark feels so human, right? Lois feels so human. Jimmy feels so human. Even the other superheroes feel so real. They feel like actual people. You know, Guy is such a funny choice for your first official like Green Lantern. But he works, right? And then Mr. Terrific, like, most people don't know who that is, and if they do, they barely know anything about him. Having him here is awesome. He's like perfectly serious enough, but he works well enough with everybody else, right? Hawk Girl, great. Like, all of it works so well. The villains work super well too. Lex Luthor is terrific. He did amazing in this movie. Like, those two, him and Superman, did amazing this movie acting wise. It was perfect. They were great contrasts to each other, and Lex was like a perfect example of how I feel like we should view billionaires in real life, man. These aren't good people. That's a topic for another video, but I'm absolutely gonna stand on that, right? And it just works so well, because it feels like Superman is the everyday man versus these billionaires that have so much power over your life, right? He's like what a person would be like if they had the ability to make a change, and it inspires us to be better, and inspires us to be human, like how he even says it, I mess up, I'm not perfect, I may be Superman, but I'm far from it, and it's so beautiful, and it just shows us how we can all be better, do great or good things. I think that's the real punk rock, right? Thank you guys for watching or listening, however you're viewing this. Sorry, I was gone for a little bit. I was on vacation for Father's Day, so I wasn't able to, and I forgot my laptop at home. Sorry, couldn't make a video. I forgot my laptop and my mic, and I was like, fuck. And I was over 4 hours away, so I couldn't really do anything about that. But thank you guys so much for listening. I see y'all really like that boys video. I'm gonna be back with another video. I'm gonna just figure out whatever I'm gonna post. But yeah. And if you have any recommendations, any suggestions, anything that y'all want to hear me talk about, please just say it. This is Media Yaps. This is not just about movies or TVs or cartoons or video games. This is about everything. We're gonna get back on the sports soon. Knicks just won the finals, so I don't know. I'll figure it out. But thank you guys for watching or listening, as always, and I'll see you guys later.